What's up again, everybody? It's your boy Sizzle Dizzle, and we're balling with Scream 2022, also known as Scream 5. Yeah, weird. I know this is kind of in the era where a lot of these sequels just take the original title for themselves. Yeah, we saw this with Halloween 2018, among others as well, where it's not really a remake, but yeah. Anyways, Scream 5, let's talk about it. So man, this was one I did see this one in theaters. This was actually the first Scream movie I saw in theaters, which is crazy because the original Scream was the first Scream movie that I saw, but obviously I didn't see it in theaters. But I did see it as a kid. I grew up kind of with some of these movies, and then Scream 2022 or Scream 5 was the first one that I actually got to see in theaters. So kind of cool, kind of special for me, I guess, in that regard. But I'm just gonna get right in and talk about the things I like about it, things I don't like about it. Want to hear your thoughts on the film as well. While you're here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Join the pack. Let's go. So positives, what I liked with the film. I actually really liked the opening in this one. I actually think this probably has the best opening since the original, for a number of reasons. One, I think they do a good job with the tension, and how they build the tension in that opening act. I thought really worked. It's scary, it's creepy, but they still bring that ghost face phone call, horror game trivia type thing, which I really enjoy. They bring that back in, but they still set everything up really well with that opening sequence. That's one thing I like about it. What I also liked about that opening was the fact that it actually had relevance to the story. It actually played a part in the story, in the plot of the film. That was one of my criticisms with some of the other Scream openings, is that opening sequence doesn't really mean anything to the film. Like it doesn't, the characters don't really play any important role to the story, to the plot. And that's, that was one of my issues with Scream 4, one of my issues with Scream 2 as well. Here, I think that was one thing I really liked with Scream 5, is that this opening actually plays an important part to the rest of the story as it unfolds and to the plot. It's critical to the plot of the film, and I like that. It didn't feel just like a wasted opening 10 minutes or whatever. The other thing I liked with the opening in this one is the fact that this was the first opening sequence in a Scream movie where the victim actually survives. And I thought that's kind of cool. Like, Tara actually gets to live to talk about that, the what happens, and talk about the events that occurred. It's the first time that they had done that. So a little bit, some creativity there, a little bit of a new route to go, that I liked. Not just killing off the character as soon as we're introduced to them. So I really like the opening in Scream 5. I think it's the best since the original. I also really, I really like the characters. Like this, so this one felt more, it felt more like an actual passing of the baton. You had Sydney, you got Gail, you got Dewey coming back, and Officer Hicks as well, who's now Sheriff Hicks in this one. And now they are the ones passing the baton to a new group of characters. And while they kind of did that in Scream 4, I don't think really anyone from Scream 4 survived to, other than Officer Hicks, who was a new character. None of the other new characters really lived to survive Scream 4. And I didn't really buy that those characters would be the new group, the new surviving cast moving forward. This one, it felt more organic. It felt more real. I liked, the kind of passing the torch feeling that it had in this one. It felt real. They still gave us Sydney, Dewey, Gale, and I like that all three of them actually played an important role in this story. They weren't just here simply to pass the torch. Like, it would have been easy just to bring them in, just to pass the torch and just show up as like, hey, we're in the film, but we don't really have anything to do. We're just here to kind of officially pay it forward to the next group. Like, they could have done that, but they didn't. They actually brought the characters in, the legacy characters in, and actually had them play an important role in the film while also passing the torch. And so I like that they did that. We actually, we got to see that transition happen naturally, organically, and well earned, I think, as well. And I liked all these new characters. I don't think there were any of these new characters that I didn't like, other than maybe Chad's girlfriend or love interest in this one. I forget her name, and she wasn't necessarily even a character that I like disliked or had a problem with. I was just kind of indifferent to her. I just didn't really care about her one way or the other. But all the other characters, Chad, Mindy, Sam, Tara, I liked all these characters, and they all really worked for me personally. I think they each have their own personality that stands out. None of them felt like they were trying to copy any of the legacy characters. I didn't feel even the Mindy, who kind of is our new Randy type of character, doesn't feel like she's trying to do a Randy impression. She feels like her own character. And Sam and Tara don't feel like they're trying to copy what Neve Campbell did as Sydney. They also are their own characters with their own personalities. I like that the film did that. Like, it gave us a new group of characters who weren't trying to be the previous legacy characters. They all had personality. They all let that stand out. I thought all the characters had their moments to kind of shine in the film, and none of them felt like caricatures. None of them felt over the top. I thought the performances were all handled really well. None of them came across as annoying. None of them came across as woke or ridiculous or anything like that. Like, I really liked how they presented this new group of characters and how they were portrayed and the performances behind them. I really bought and really kind of invested with these new characters. So they all worked for me. The Ghostface killers, I liked Richie probably a little bit more than Amber. But what I liked with the Ghostface in this film were the kills. I thought the kills were really good in this film. Like, they were much more violent. Not necessarily more gory, although there was a lot of gore in this one. They were just more violent. Even the opening attempt of murder on Tara, like when Ghostface crushes her ankle and then takes the knife through her hand, like, ooh, that's both those moments got a cringe out of me when I saw them in theaters, and watching them back for this review, they still got a visceral reaction out of me. You had my favorite kill of the film, which was the knife through just like the vein, like the actual vein of the neck through the Officer Hicks's son. I forget what his name is. But when Ghostface takes the knife and like goes through the side of, oh yeah, just gnarly stuff, man, gnarly stuff. Dewey's stuff was obviously very visceral and raw as well. I can't believe they did my boy Dewey like that. But the thing is, I like that they did that because at this point, one of these legacy characters needed to RIP. I'm sorry. I mean, I like all three of them: Gale, Dewey, Sydney. I personally would have preferred Gale to be the one that gets RIP'd, but Dewey's packed a bigger punch for sure. And I like that they weren't afraid to actually go there and kill off a couple. Well, Hicks, I guess, wasn't technically a legacy character, but she was a returning character. But I like that they went there, and it definitely packed an emotional punch, which was important to me. It had an emotional weight. You know, Dewey and Gale seeing Dewey dead. You know, Sam and Tara's relationship there. Like, I definitely felt an emotional punch to this film that I think was missing in some of the other Scream films. So that was something that I enjoyed that was here in this movie. I like that they brought Billy Loomis back. That was really cool to see him. He's still my favorite Ghostface. So I like that they were able to bring him back in a way that didn't feel forced. It felt like it actually made sense and was actually coherent. And I loved seeing him on screen again. So that always brings a smile to my face when I watch this film is seeing him on screen. So yeah, a lot of really good stuff. The tone, I liked the tone, the atmosphere. It felt, you know, grounded, dark, scary at points. It just felt very much like the tone of the original film. The third act, even set in the original house, definitely gives you those vibes and feels a lot like that first Scream movie, which is a good thing because that first Scream movie is a banger. So yeah, just some really good stuff, man. And enjoyed I thought the pacing was good. I never get drawn out of this film. I never get bored or restless. I think the pacing is handled really well on top of everything else. So yeah, those are all my positives, man. Really enjoy it. As far as negatives, I have just a few negatives with the film, but they're honestly not anything huge. One of my issues though is kind of with the story and the commentary on, you know, the dangers of fandom. I just don't know that commentary really worked for me. I felt like it was a little forced in that third act when the Ghostface killers are revealed and their motives is just, oh, they're horror fans and they're fans of the Stab movies, and this is what extreme fandom can do. Look, anyone who knows me knows I'm an extreme Michael Myers fan. I'm an extreme Batman fan. All right, I'm a werewolf nut. Okay, anything werewolf, I'm game for. I'm not, you know, I have no intentions, no plans to go around RIPing dudes on the street. Like, I just feel like it was a little ridiculous. It felt almost a little insulting to people that are actually genuine fans of horror or fans of other things. Like, you can be a hardcore fan of something and not be a psycho whack job, you know, that wants to go around killing people. It just, to me, doesn't translate that fandom leads to killing, where the motives of most of the prior films felt like, okay, I can see how that would lead to possible murder. You know, Billy and Stu were these nutcases. Billy's mother wanting revenge for Sydney killing her son made sense. You know, Roman wanting payback because he was jealous of Sydney his whole life makes sense. You know, even Scream 4, the motive felt kind of pretty believable, I would say as well. But here, the whole fandom thing, just, I don't know that it translated well, and that I really bought it, and it just kind of takes me out there. And a little bit of the, you know, like the whole Amber coming back after she's been burned, playing into the typical tropes. It started to feel like they were dropping the football there a little bit towards the end. And what was otherwise just a really great Scream movie. So that's one of my issues I had. I also do feel like this movie somewhat lacked originality. I feel like it leaned too much, it relied too much on the original film for its success. I get that, yes, it recognizes that the fans are fans of the original film. That's where that fandom kind of comes from. And so they wanted to go back to that and draw on that, but I feel like they maybe went a little too far and lacked some originality and new ideas other than having the victim in the opening act survive. Like they even put the third act in the same house as the original film. You know, they had the love interest be the killer again. And it just, a lot of the same beats were there. After I was done watching it this time, I thought about it for a second. I was like, it really did kind of feel like a paint by numbers Scream 96 movie. It didn't really, and maybe that's why I like it to a great degree, because I love that original, but it kind of works against this one because it lacks its own ingenuity to really kind of make a mark on the genre or even the franchise, really. Where the other sequels, I do feel like at least attempted some type of originality or something creative. This one I felt leaned too much and relied too much on the success and the love and the fandom of that original film. And then my one other negative with Scream 5 is the fact that even after all these years of Ghostface killers and the story of what originally happened, Woodsboro murders, nobody is still picking up on the fact that there's two killers when we're talking about the stab movies or the Scream movies. Like, I don't even think Sydney picks up on it until like the third act, when Ghostface specifically tells her that he's not the other killer. So she's like, oh, there's two killers again. Like, dude, you've been through how many of these? People shouldn't be surprised that there's two killers. These characters in this film should not be surprised that there's two killers. That should be their first thought is, okay, who are the two killers in this film that they're trying to make? But instead, it's like no one is picking up. Even the Mindy, who's supposed to be like the movie nerd, even the legacy characters that have been through this multiple times are still, it seems like, oblivious to the fact that there's going to be multiple killers. There always are, except with the exception of Scream 3, which was the outlier. But like the fact that nobody's picking up that there should be two killers, and the fact they're still looking for just the one killer, it's like it's almost a little too much for me to buy. The fact that especially these legacy characters, would not be that wouldn't be the first thing they're thinking of is, okay, who are the multiple killers here? Instead, they're just honing in on who's the one killer in the movie. It's like, dude, if the audience members recognize that there's going to be multiple killers, the characters in the film should recognize that as well. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that's something that I really felt in this film, was like, why are none of these characters picking up on the fact that there's probably multiple killers instead of just looking for the one? But anyways, overall, guys, I would say I really love this film. I really love Scream 5. I think it's one of the best in the franchise. I'm going to give Scream 2022 a 4.5 star review. Love this movie. Just have a few issues with it that keep it from the 5, but overall, it's a banger, man. It's a banger. Love it. Still holds up. Seen it multiple times. Still held up on this watch. And I just have a blast with it. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And until next time, you freaks, kick it and rock on.